Hey guys, so today we're going to have a look at stacks. This is for A level and it's going to be done in pseudocode. So it's maybe not so useful for everybody, but if you're doing A level, or even AS to some extent, it's definitely useful. Now we're going to be using the Pseudocode.pro program, which is amazing. Costs you $2 and it lets you write A level pseudocode and run it, which A shows you that A-level pseudocode's gone a bit far, but it's actually really helpful for our exams. $2, can't go wrong. I have no affiliation with these guys. I just think it's a really useful site. So thank you to those guys. Keep it up. So first thing we want to do is make our stack. So stack is last in, first out. So let's start with there. So we're going to have our main program. And in our main program, we want to start by making our array. So we're going to declare my stack. And my stack is going to be an array. And it's going to be from 1 to 5 inclusive. And our data type is going to be a string. Now I'm going to need my pointers. So my pointers, again, I'm going to declare. Now I'm going to have the top of my stack. It's a very important one. I'm going to have the bottom of the stack, which I'm going to call base. And I'm going to have full, which is how I know if the stack is full or not. And those are all going to be integers. There's probably other things I need, like I probably want to make the letter. And that's going to be the letter. I'm just going to add letters to my stack. Why? I don't know. But it's just the way we're going to do it. And that's going to be of string. Okay, so that should be enough declarations to get started with. We might need to come back and do more. Again, in an exam, you want to leave a bit of space, just in case you remember something. So, first thing we want to do then is initialize our different pointers. So let's have a think about that. Now, it always helps, and again, I would totally do this in an exam, to draw your stack out. Give a visualization of your stack, and it will make your life a lot easier. So here's one I made earlier, as they say. So here I have an array. It starts at 1, and it goes to 5. And these will be the items on the array. Now I've got 3 pointers. I've got my top. So we'll come back to that in a second. Base is the lowest point. So the lowest point is 1. The stack is full when it's gone beyond 5. So I'm going to say stack full is 6. Now top represents the current, the last item that was placed into the stack. Now currently there's no items, so I'm going to go 1 less than the base. I'm going to go 1 less than the size. However, as we add items, so for example, were I to have A and B, top would then be 2. Okay, and if I did that, top goes to 1. And if I went down, then top would return to 0. All right, so it really helps to have a visualization of what you think is going on. It will help you in general. So let's make my pointers. Dun, dun, dun. So I said top is going to be 0. The base is going to be 1. And full is going to be 6. Okay, so hopefully that should be our base setup for our stack. And then hopefully you remember that there are 2 procedures in a stack, or 2 methods, functions, procedures, depends on which one, procedure and a function let's make. Okay, we're going to have, one of them is going to be to push an item onto the stack, and the other is to pop an item off the stack. So this is like push, add, and this one's remove. Okay, don't call them those, call them push and pop, but it might help you to think of them those ways. Okay, now I'm going to use procedures here. So for push, I'm going to use a procedure because I'm going to push an item onto the stack, but I don't really need a return value for that one. Okay, so I'm going to say procedure push. And I'm going to come back to my parameters later. Procedure push. And then I need an end procedure. Now just to check I've not got an error here. Yay, so far no error. Now here I have to give it the parameters. Now it gets a bit tricky, so if you're programming it in Python or something, then you might just use globals. You could pass all of these up to procedure as parameters, and that's what I'm going to do today. But there's no hard and fast rule necessarily, but it's generally better to do things as parameters where you can. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I don't want to be having to return all these back to the main program, so I'm going to do it by reference. So I'm going to point references to these rather than changing the value and then outputting the value in a later place. Okay, so I'm going to do by ref. Let's start by giving it my stack, which is going to be an array of string. I also want to give it the letter, which is a string, and that's going to be the letter I'm trying to add to the stack. And then I want to give it these other pointers. Can I do that? I'm not sure actually. Can I just do it as a single line? Let's see. Okay, seems to be liking it so far. So I could do all of the integers together. If not, we can do it one by one. Top, integer, base, integer, full, integer. But that seems to be working as is at the moment. So let's think about our procedure. So with this procedure, oh, sorry, and these should all be by ref. Sorry, my mistake. Hopefully that works. Okay, we'll soon see. Okay, so let's return to our little image here. So if I want to put an item onto the stack, first I have to check and see if the stack is full. Okay, so in this situation, top would be 5. Yeah, because it's pointing to the topmost item of our stack. So if we were to try and do top plus 1, it would equal the full size. Okay, so let's try and program in that situation first. So we want to say if top plus 1 equals full, then output stack full. Not sure why I'm doing caps, it's very angry. And then I need my end if. No, let's not do it as an end if, let's do it as an else. You could do it either way. Anyway, let's do it as an else. So that situation is okay, but let's say I wasn't in that situation. Let's say I was here. So top is 2. So if the stack is not full, then I want to add 1 to the top and insert the item at that position. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to add C, top would become 3, and I would insert it at my array 3, like so. Okay, so how do I say that? So I can say top equals top plus 1. So we've added 1 to the top, and then I'm going to say my stack at top becomes equal to the letter. And I think that's all we need. So let's try end if. Okay, so down here in my main program, I then want to say call push. And then I have to give it all those things, right? So I have to give it my stack. I have to give it the letter. I have to give it top, base, and full. It's a bit of a hassle having so many parameters. So again, using globals is perfectly fine if it's going to make your life easier. Just later with object orientation, it makes more sense to do it this way. But you can deal with that later. Oh, and we need to give it a letter. So let's start by saying that the letter, well, let's start the letter at A. The letter is going to equal A. And then we're going to push that onto the stack. Now we want to see if that worked or not. So let's output my stack at position 1. Let's see. Oops, I've done something wrong. What did I do wrong? I always get that wrong. Okay, so I often put an equal sign rather than the arrow because it makes more sense. Okay, so this time I've added one to the top, and then I've set the new top to be the letter. And then I've printed out the letter. So my stack 1 is equal to A. Now if we were to repeat that with, say, B, and we can get rid of that. So we're going to print my stack 1, but we also want to output my stack 2. A, B. Okay, so what does that look like here? So we've added A, and then our top has gone to 1. We've then said, is the stack full? Nope, so top has become 2, and we've added B. But then we've called a pop, and pop takes the item at top and removes it from the stack. Well, it just changes the pointer, but it's gone from the stack in our ADT, and it's given back to the user, and then we decrease the top by 1. So did we decrease the, well, we've not done our push yet, so we can't see that, but so far, so good. Okay, so that's our procedure for push. So the next thing we have to think of is how do we pop items? How do we remove items from the stack? Well, I just gave you a clue by jumping ahead there. So let's say we had A and B, top would be at 2. So we would have to output the value at 2 and then decrease the pointer. Now, here we have a trick if we're doing it as a function. If we're not doing it as a function, it really depends how we want to do it. Do we want to print it in the thing? So let's do it the simplest way and do it as a procedure for now. Okay. So I'm going to do procedure pop. And it's actually going to need all of the same stuff apart from it's not going to need the letter because we already know where the letter is not being added this time. And okay, so we want to say that so let's think about our image. So in the situation where we had that, so top is 0. So we want to say if top is less than the base. Now we could do top equals base. That's not going to make sense because there is an item at base. So we want to do if the top is less than the base, then we're going to say that the stack is empty. So let's write that. So we can say if top is less than base, then output stack empty. Yeah, with a big M. Else Okay, so if it's not, then we want to output the item in my stack at top, and then we want to decrease the top by 1. And we need to remember to end our if. Okay, I think that should work. So now, instead of output my stack, I want to call pop. And I'm going to want to give it everything. I want to give it everything except the letter. And let's do it 3 times. So we should. Okay, so in theory, if I've done it right, which I may have not, so we've added A, and then we've added B, according to this, okay? So we've added A, we've added B. And then I'm going to call pop. Now pop should print B, and then the second pop should print A, and the third pop should print that the stack is empty, because by that point, the top should be less than the base. Let's see. Yay, so B and A stack empty. So that is as we hoped. The other thing we probably need to check is my stack full. So the stack full is when we have lots of items. So we can just copy that a few times. I could do it in a for loop, but I'm feeling lazy today. So A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so let's visualize that. A, B, C, D, and E. Well, that's going to work so far, actually. Oh, A, B. That's why I do my letters right. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, so we should have 1 stack full, and then we should output E, D, and C. Stack full, E, D, and C. So that is all working as we planned. Yay! Yeah, cool. Now, you might want to think about what if it was a function to do the pop. And that's going to return... Sorry, guys. And that's going to return a string. Sorry, I've got somebody outside. My dogs are going crazy. That's going to return a string. So here, so if the top is da-da-da, then it's going to return stack empty. Otherwise, now here we get in a bit of a trick. Now we can't return my stack top, because that means it will stop here. As soon as we do a return, then it's going to stop our function. So we have to think of how could we reduce the top and then do it. Well, one way might be to just be top equals top minus 1, and then we print, return stack top plus 1. Okay. Another way might be to assign it to a letter or something else. Now, when we do a push, I'm going to change my calls to say output. Doggies are not helping me today. I don't know who's outside at this time of night. Output. Oh my gosh, so many. Output. Oh no, because I've done my pushes as well, my pops. Oh no. So I'm going to call my push. Oh, sorry guys. My dogs have made me go insane. Push, 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 push. And it's only my pops I want to output. Okay, and that should hopefully have the same effect. I hope. Oops. expected returns. Oops, I've not spelled returns right on my returns. Sorry, let's try that again. Oh, and it's a function now, so we need to end function. There we go. Okay, so when A is no problem, B is no problem, C is no problem, but when we get to F, it's going to say stack full, and then we're going to pop E, D, C, and again we could put a bunch of those in so that eventually it should get down to saying stack empty as well. Alright, hopefully that helps. I'll try and put the code in a comment or something, and remind me if I don't, please.